Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members are participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with the phone number that you originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on that item. To ensure audio clarity, I suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies, and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Ron Hunt, Asif Khan, Paul Kidd, and Nadini Sankar Peralta. City staff are also present: Daniel Antonacci, Simon Lamb, Adam Wills, Kelly Reed, and Chris Pereira. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and the T-Lab will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Appeal instructions are described at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if desired. If the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak on the item. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent proceeds first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. To ensure that a revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This marks the end of discussion on the item. The application is then taken to the committee for a decision. I have minutes from our hearing of the 19th of August, 2021 to adopt. Could I have a motion from the members to adopt those minutes? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I motion to approve those minutes.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Those minutes are adopted. Thank you very much. Are there any committee members here today who have a conflict of interest they'd like to declare? No? Okay, thank you. We have a deferral request for this morning for application number 2, A, B, and C. That's 274 Rainey Avenue. And I have the agent, Ida Evangelista. Are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members. Ida Evangelista on behalf of the owners of 274 Rainey Avenue.
Okay.
We've noticed the reason for my deferral.
Okay, madam, just a moment. I just wanted to, I noticed going through your file that we have there's urban forestry conditions, there's a development engineering report dated the 8th of November 2021 that had no objections to your application. There's a transportation services report of the 2nd of February 2022 that had no objections to your application, subject to a 1.44 meter conveyance along the Rainey Avenue frontage of the property, which I note is illustrated on your site plan. And I note that there is a city planning report of 2 February, which had no objections to the consent, but recommends refusing the variances related to the number of stories for both proposed lots. So can I ask, I guess, is that the reason that you're asking for the deferral?
Mr. Chair, actually, no. The reason we're asking for a deferral is there is the front porch minor variance is missing for parts 2 and 3. In relation to the staff report with planning, the 3-story is technical in nature, but we cannot move forward because unfortunately we do need a front porch height, so I do have to defer.
Okay, and so you need to...
We've been unable to contact zoning staff.
Okay, just a moment. Ms. Reed, can we turn up the volume in here? Oh, okay. Ms. Evangelista, I'm sorry, if you could speak up a little more because it's hard to hear you in here.
My apologies.
Okay, no problem.
Is that better?
That's a little better. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so you're looking for a deferral. I'll just ask the committee, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Can we get a motion on the deferral request, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to move a deferral to give the applicant an opportunity to revise their application.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can correct your notice. I also suggest that you discuss your application with city planning as well. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members,
thank you.
Have a good day.
We'll now go back to our regular agenda. That's item number 1, 14 Faith Avenue. I have 3 people registered to speak. The agent is a Stephen Camiso. Are you there? Stephen Camiso, are you there? One more time. Stephen Camiso, are you there?
Mr. Chair, the agent is unmuted and able to speak. So, Stephen, if you would like to start speaking to your application, that would be great.
Mr. Camiso, are you there? Mr. Camiso, are you there? One more time. Ms. Reed, I'm gonna put his application to the bottom of the list. We'll come back to it. We'll go back to item number 3. We'll go to item number 3, 227 Connaught Avenue. Connaught Avenue. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is Nikita Metkarski. Are you there?
Can you hear me? Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. If it's possible, if you could speak up, we're having some audio difficulties in the council chambers here. The volume's pretty low.
Okay, I'll try to speak louder.
Okay, thank you. Sir, just before you start, I've gone through your file. I noticed that there is a recommended condition from urban forestry. There's a report from city planning dated the 1st of February 2022 that has no objections to your application, provided that your proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the west elevation and east elevation drawings submitted to the committee, attached as attachments 1 and 2 to their report. Have you had the opportunity to review that report, sir?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. What I wanted to do, sir, I'm just going to go back here. We have one other person registered to speak, so if you'd like to make a brief presentation to the committee on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yeah, sure. So basically we have 6 variances. They are mostly related to setbacks, lot coverage, and height, and also the rear deck. We worked with the planning department, and all these numbers we have for these variances, we believe they're reasonable, and the planning department also confirmed that these numbers are acceptable. Besides, there are a lot of houses in this neighborhood that have similar lot coverage and similar setbacks. Even there is a building next to our building which has similar setbacks. I can go in details if you want.
Well, we have another person who'd like to comment on your application, so I think you need to go into a little more detail.
So like the first variance is the a side yard setback for the rear deck. The proposed is 1.5 and the requirement is 1.8. Again, we think this number is reasonable, and we think this is minor, as we wanted to align the edge of the deck with the edge of the house to make it look more aesthetically pleasing. The second variance is the lot coverage. The requirement is 30 and we have 32. Again, we worked with the planning department and we didn't have any comments on this, and we think this is reasonable. The third variance is the height of the building. Again, the planning department confirmed that it's acceptable, and we considered it minor too. The fourth variance is the permitted height for the exterior main walls facing side lot lines. So like it has to be 7.5 meters. In our case, it's 9.4 meters, but this is because of the design of the roof line to accommodate the second floor windows. In fact, the height of the side exterior main walls, as measured from the established grade to the underside of the eaves, is 8 meters. We think this explanation and this new number make this variance more reasonable. Number 5 is the side setbacks. The west setback is 1.55 meters and the east setback is 1.5 meters. And again, as I said, there are a lot of houses in this neighborhood with similar setbacks, and one of them is even next to our property. They have an east side setback of 1.54 meters. And the last variance, number 6, is related to the height of the building too, which I already explained.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next registered speaker on our list. I have a John Nushis. Are you there, sir? John Nushis, N-U-S-H-I-S. Are you there? John Nusish. Are you there? N-U-S-H-I-S.
Mr. Chair, we do not have a John Nucius on the call at the moment.
He's not there?
He's not present.
Okay, so I'm not, can we try and get a hold of him?
Yes, so do you want to hold this one down while we get a hold of
I'll hold this
him?
one down. And we'll have to come back to it. Another one we'll come back to. I'll go back to, my apologies, committee, for jumping around, but we'll go back to item number 1, which is 14 Faith Avenue. Is Steve Camiso, are you there? Stephen Camiso, are you there? One more time. Stephen Camiso, are you there? Oh, we'll put it back to the bottom of the list. Ms. Reed, any luck with Mr. Nucius? My apologies, Mr. Metkarski, but we have to try and wait to see if we can get a hold of the speaker. So I'm going to move to the next item that's on the list, which is item number 4, 31 Hemford Crescent. I have one person registered to speak. That's a Monica Kuhn, K-U-H-N. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. I can hear you. Thank you very much. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Monica Kuhn. I'm the architect. My address is 12 Sackville Place in Toronto.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going through your file, madam. I note there's a recommended condition from Urban Forestry. There's also a report from Transportation Services. They had no objections to your proposed driveway width. They just have a recommended condition that you add a statement on your plan stating that all portions of existing access driveways that are no longer required must be closed and restored with soft landscaping and full concrete curbs to the satisfaction of Transportation Services. Did you have an opportunity, madam, to read those reports?
I saw the one from Transportation. I didn't see the one from Forestry, but we will be making sure that we have no issues with.
It's, I think, as I recall, it's a condition relating to, let me just see here. Yeah, I think it's taking out, getting permits with regards to tree protection and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything in the material we have before us this morning, madam, that you'd like to expand on, or is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'll just do a quick review, but also I just wanted to bring to the attention of the committee that in variance number 7, there's a typo.
Okay.
It should say south side yard, not north side yard. It's pretty obvious because the work's all happening on the south, but so I don't think it's an issue.
Okay, so I'm
But
sorry.
just so
So what should variance number 7 read?
it should read the proposed south side yard setback is 1.31.
Hang on. So hang on. The proposed north side yard setback is 1.31 meters. You're proposing to change that to 1.21 meters?
No, I'm saying that it's not the north, it's the south.
Oh, it's okay. It's so it should read the proposed south side yard setback is 1.31 meters.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So variance number 7 needs to be revised to read the proposed south side yard setback is 1.31 meters. Thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With regard to variance number 4, I see you're asking for a third story. When I look at the plan, I don't see a third story at all. Can you just explain that, please?
Sure. There are three variances here that are existing situations, but which we're not changing. It's just that the way that the bylaw has been written, it's the interpretation is leading to the conclusion that our house has 3 stories currently because they're saying that the basement is the first story. It has to do with established grade because the house is on a slope and the dimensions are taken further forward. The way that they calculate what is the first story means that the basement is being called the first story, but we are not at the 3rd story at all. It's staying as a 2-story. It's just it's part of the way that the bylaw has been written. That's all.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
and the same thing with the level of, the level of the first floor is also an existing condition. And our front yard setback is also an existing condition. We're not changing those.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the proposal meets the intent and the purpose of the zoning bylaws. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application as amended. Variance number 7 revised to read the proposed south side yard setback is 1.31 meters. And I'd like to make it subject to transportation services condition that an addition notation be added to the site plan drawing stating that all portions of the existing access driveways that are no longer required must be closed and restored with soft landscaping and the full concrete curbs to the satisfaction of the transportation services, and also subject to forestry condition.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Hunt, I can't see you, so if you could just say if you're in favor. Mr. Hunt, are you there? Oh, you're in favor. Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunt. That motion carries. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and transportation services conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. We'll go back to item number 3. Ms. Reed, do we have any luck finding Mr. Nucius?
Mr. Chair, I've contacted him, so let's continue going down the list, and then I'll let you know when we are ready to go back.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to item number 5, 8 Findlay Boulevard. I have one person registered to speak. That is the agent, Alexander Krupin, Krupin. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes,
This is
sir. Can I get your
Alexander
full name
Krupin.
and address, please?
Yeah, it's Alexander Krupin, and it's 8 Findlay Boulevard. I'm the house owner.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm just going through your file. I note that there's a report from City Planning dated the 12th of January. And
Yes.
of this year makes a recommendation that you modify variance number 1 for the proposed lot coverage from 36.2% to 35.1%. Modify variance number 4 for the proposed building length from 19.57 meters to 18.5 meters. And modify variance number 6 for the proposed platform area from 44.29 square meters to 10.74 square meters. They also recommend that if the revised application is approved, that you develop the proposal substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing, date stamped as received on January 5th, 2022, attached as attachment 1 to their report. I just wanted to ask, sir, did you have an opportunity to review that report?
Yes, that is correct, and we're in agreement with everything in that report. And
So
everything that they're
if you
proposing
could,
in that report.
just for the committee's benefit, sir, could you go through your application here and just tell us what changes you're making?
Yes, so the item number one, where the permitted maximum lot coverage is 30%, we're asking for 35.1 or 0.2%. This is what we're asking for of the committee.
So you're going, so you're
Change
going
number-
from,
Sorry?
so you're asking from, hang on just a moment. We have the way it's written is the proposed lot coverage is 35.2% of the lot area. That's what your ask is. And you're proposing that you're taking it to 35.1%?
Yep, 35.1%. We're okay with 35.1%.
Okay, so from 35.2% to 35.1%.
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so then what's the next one?
So the second one is the side setback on the north side. The requirement is 1.8 meters. Our existing setback, because we're living in this house, is 0.25 meters. So we're almost at the lot line right now. So we're asking 1.22 meters
Okay, hang on a
on
second.
the north
hang
side,
on.
which is,
Hang on a second, sir. So variance number 3, you're changing it from 1.52 meters to 1.22 meters?
variance number 3 from we're requesting 1.52 meters.
Okay, you're not changing it. You're not revising it. Which,
No.
just go through your applications and tell the committee which variances you're revising. As, I'm assuming it's as per your agreement with city planning.
Yes, so only 30 from 35.2% to 35.1%. I assume there is some rounding off or calculation difference of 0.1% in number 1.
Okay,
Item number 2 and number 3, this is what this is what we want.
okay,
This is what we're asking of the committee, 1.22 and 1.52. And my understanding was the planning didn't have objections. We are asking for proposed building length of 19.57. We are asking for proposed building depth, 19.96.
hang on just a moment. Variance number 4, are you changing that one? You were asking, the planning report says that they recommend 18.5 meters. Is that what you're changing it to?
Yeah, we're okay to change that to 18.5. That's right.
Okay,
Sorry.
so number
Yes.
4, you're going from 19.57 meters to 18.5 meters, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. Yes.
What's the next one you're changing?
The next one is the balcony or the second story platform. We're requesting 10.74 meters, and we have support for that.
Okay,
from-
hang on. Okay, so yeah, variance number 6, 10.74, and that's the way it reads, and you've reduced it from 44.29%, correct?
Yes, that was our previous attempt.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you. Are there any other changes?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this morning, sir?
Yes, sorry. So we've lived in this house for over 6 years. We have a growing family. We've been planning this house for a long time. We've applied for PPR zoning review, and we received our objections. Then we applied to the Committee of Adjustments. Then we worked with the planner on our list to make sure that they'll support our application to the committee. So on the lot coverage, we're asking for 5.1% more, because that also includes a shed. We feel that's a minor variance. On the side setbacks, we're asking for, on both sides, larger setbacks, but both of them are smaller than the existing house that we have. And, I didn't receive any negative feedback from our neighbors on that. In terms of the balcony, we feel that 4 square meters that are allowed is just too small to put even a small table, so we're asking for at least 10 square meters. And the last one, number 7, in terms of the building height, the planning said this is the old city bylaw, so he said he has no issues with with the old city bylaw. He's mainly concerned with bylaw number 569. So we went through this list with the planning, cooperated as much as possible, didn't get any negative feedback from the neighbors, and we're asking the committee to approve our application.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I think, given the revisions that were made that supports the staff report, I'm willing to put forward a motion to approve this application. And it will be subject to the changes that were made by the applicant here today. And I just want to go through them again to make sure that we've got them correct. But he is changing variance number 1 to the lot coverage to 35.1%. Variance number, I'm wondering if I have the variances correct here, but variance is number 2 with the north side yard setback.
Just a sec, Ms. Sankar. Variance number 2 and 3 stay the same. Variance number 4, he's reducing to 18.5 from 19.57 meters, and the other 3 variances stay the same. I note that variance number 6, with the second-story platform area of 10.74 square meters, is actually what was, he's reduced that. That's in keeping what city planning was asking for. So the only 2 that are changing are variances number 4 and variance number 1.
Okay, I thought I had recorded that he was increasing the north side yard setback to 1.22, as well as the south side to 1.52, but
let's just back, because I'll just ask the applicant again. Sir, are you there?
Yes.
Your variances number 2 and 3. Sir?
Yeah, I would prefer to keep them as is, unless you have a notice from the planning to change otherwise. My understanding is that the planning did not request the increase in number 2 and number 3.
No, they did not, sir.
Okay.
Sir, city planning didn't ask for variances number 2 or 3 to be changed. Are you proposing to change them?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not proposing to change them.
Variances 2 and 3 stay the same. Variance number 1 changes, variance number 4 changes, all the other ones stay the same, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Sankar, I hope that clears that up.
Mr. Chair, just a point of order, I believe variance 6 changes as well, the platform area.
No, there's a bit of a confusion there, Mr. Hunt. Variance number 6, the city planning report was recommending, I guess the original platform area was 44.29 square meters, and they wanted it to reduce to 10.74 square meters. And it looks like that's what variance number 6 reflects, 10.74 square meters. I'll just confirm again with the applicant. Sir? Variance number 6.
Yes, that is correct.
That's correct. That reflects what planning asked for,
we wanted
correct?
44 square meters, and we already reduced it to 10 in working with the city planning.
Okay, thank you. So, 10.74 doesn't change. That's what was requested by planning, and that's what's in the variance request. I'm sorry, Ms. Sankar.
Yeah, so I'll restate my motion then to approve this application. And based on the changes made by the applicant here today, which is variance number 1 is reduced to 36.1% and variance number 4 is changed to 18.5 meters, and that this proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing received on January 5th, 2022.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Mr. Chair, can we go back to item number 1 and try to the agent again? Item number 1.
Variance number 1, okay.
Item 1.
We'll go back to variance number 1. That's 14 Faith Avenue. Are you there? Stephen Camiso, are you there? Stephen Camiso, are you there?
Mr. Chair, what item is that?
Mr. Camiso, we can't hear you.
Item 1.
Item number 1, 14 Faith Avenue. Stephen Camiso, are you there? Again, he's not there. I'm going to move him back to the bottom of the list. Ms. Reed, did you have any luck with Mr. Nucius?
I have emailed, but I have not gotten any response at this moment.
Okay, all right. We'll go back to item number 6, 43 Strathgowan Crescent. I have one person registered to speak. That is the agent, Jay Smith. Are you there? Jay Smith, are you there? Jay Smith, are you there? One more time. Jay Smith, are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Jay Smith. I'm the agent for 43 Strathgowan Crescent.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, sir, I've gone through your file. I note that we have no staff comments or recommended conditions in connection with your application. You have 2 variances before us, one for building length, the other for the south side yard setback. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask, sir, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No,
Just
thank you,
one,
Mr.
pardon me.
Chair.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me? I just joined in.
Mr. Khan, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Mr. Khan, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Mr. Khan, speak up.
Yeah, we can't hear
Speak
you,
up
Mr.
louder.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
Yes,
Hello.
Mr. Khan, we hear you. Go with your motion.
Thank you, sir. Well, thank you very much. It's a minor variance, and I move it for the approval.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Thank you very much, sir. Your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'll go back to item number 1, 14 Faith Avenue. Stephen Camiso, are you there? Stephen
I am
Camiso,
here.
are you there?
I am here.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just wanted to go through your application here. I note that there's a couple of reports on file. There's a recommended conditions from urban forestry. There's a development engineering report dated the 12th of April that has of 2021. Had no objections to your application, subject to their standard consent conditions. There's also a report from City Planning dated the 31st of January 2022. And their report recommends that your application be refused, sir. Would you like to
Yes.
defer your application so that you could discuss this, the refusal request from City Planning?
No, we've already spoken with them, and we would prefer to make our presentation.
Okay, all right then, sir. If you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Comiso of Lynch and Comiso Architects, located at 570 Annette Street in Toronto, and I am the agent for the owner. I also have the owner's son here in the office. In the file, you will have our specific comments on the variances as well as a streetscape montage. So I will give you a brief overview of our approach to the development of this site and how we feel it is appropriate. In almost 30 years, my client has owned the property, and the area has seen many changes. Development and densification is happening just south of the area on Wilson in the form of condos, and has, to some degree, also happened in the immediate neighborhood at the west end of Faith and Modell Avenues. Our proposal takes cues from these homes on smaller lots, as well as from some of the newer homes in the area. Our original proposal, which we presented in fall 2018, consisted of a two two-story homes with a shared driveway and garages located in the rear yard. We were refused, but took the comments of the committee to heart and redesigned the two homes, including the following. We eliminated the shared driveway that led to the garage in the rear yard and widened both houses. We reworked the floor plates and integrated the garages into the front facade, similar to what other new homes in the area have done. And we worked with urban forestry, to save one of the trees in the front yard by mirroring the house plan. That's at 14A. Addressing the setbacks first. In our experience, the setbacks variances are nominal. We do have to encroach on the side yards in order to get the plans to work with the integrated garages that are similar to newer homes on the street. On the issue of lot size and frontage, the staff report says that lot frontage and lot area standards are established in order to achieve a consistent streetscape and pattern of development. Right now, Faith has a mixed bag of homes, transitioning from bungalows to homes with attached garages, such as number 12, to larger homes with integrated garages. It is inconsistent. And this is evident in the streetscape montage we prepared from Google Street View images. There is, however, a trend in newer homes to be two-story with integrated garages. Our revised proposal is based on that. In our opinion, as Faith Avenue continues to be built out, 14A and 14B will be part of the consistent streetscape and not apart from it, notwithstanding the smaller lot sizes. Regarding the character of the homes in our proposal, we have always felt that these homes should enhance and complement the street, so our design includes several features that are prevalent on newer homes on the street, such as a combination of hip and gabled roofs, stone lintels and sills at doors and windows, a combination of brick and stucco, integrated garages, of course, similar floor levels to adjacent homes. Finally, we are consistently hearing from government and other authorities that more housing is needed and density needs to be increased in the city. Here there is an opportunity to create much needed housing stock that builds on precedents already in the neighborhood on both Faith and Modell, is close to transit, and is designed in a way that complements and reinforces the neighborhood. In short, we believe our proposal meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. Need to take a break for about a couple of minutes. We'll resume in 2 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. My apologies. We're back on item number 1, A, B, and C, 14 Faith Avenue. We've heard from the agent. We'll now hear from our deputants. First one on the list is Spiro Danigelis, and I'm sure I've mispronounced that, Danigelis. Are you there?
I'm here. That's correct, Spiro Danigelis.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Spiro Danigelis, 15 Faith Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
I've got no objections to the applicant. I'm good.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Rose Spencieri. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Rose Spencieri, 12 Faith Avenue.
Okay, thank you, madam. Can you give us your thoughts on this application?
So I'm at 12 Faith Avenue, which is directly adjacent to this property. And we reject this proposal because this goes against the whole view of this street. We are all on 60-foot lots here, a minimum, mine is 75. And this will change the whole dynamics of our street. All of the houses here are large, except for the older bungalows are still remaining. We went through this whole process back in 2019, and the residents of this community rejected this proposal, and now we're going through this once again. So I'm not sure why we're wasting taxpayers' money when we do not want 2 houses on that lot. We're more than happy to put one house on there, but we do not agree with the 2. It changes the whole dynamics and the look of this street.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go back to the agent. Mr. Camiso, are you there? Mr. Camiso.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, you heard the comments from Ms. Spencieri, if you'd like to reply to them.
The only reply is that basically the neighborhood streetscape is inconsistent. There are some larger homes, there are some smaller homes, there's the bungalows that remain, and then there are some narrow home lots on the west end. So our feeling is that the design choices we've made, the way the buildings look, the way they sit on the site is appropriate and will fit into the eventual build out of this street. Thank you.
Okay. Sir, did you have an opportunity to look at read the city planning report? Because they have a paragraph in there about where they did a lot study. Did you look at that?
Yes, I looked at it. I think part of the issue that we see is what kind of catchment are we looking at? If the city planners continue to select a larger and larger area, I mean, then you're sort of moving into the realm of things being really not in context. So we looked at Faith and Modell, and we looked at the smaller homes, and that's what we based our proposal on. So there already has been a precedent set, in our opinion, on those 2 streets, and we feel that our houses will fit well into Faith. And also, as I described before, the way we integrated our garages into the front facades, in fact, is better probably than some of the houses that you see in the western side of Faith, where you see the garages completely forward.
Yeah, so, because
Thank you.
I'm looking, their report says of the 28 lots with frontages on Faith Avenue, 22 lots have a frontage of 18 meters or greater. The remaining 6 lots have frontages between 11 and 14 meters. I note that there are, of the properties they say that have the reduced ones, those lots are adjacent to Wilson Heights, which is an arterial road.
Okay.
Where your property is, the lots are all consistently large. Is that correct?
Yes, they're consistently large. But I would say, let's say our our lot was number 20, so it was closer to Wilson Heights, and we decided to do this proposal there. So split a lot and build 2 homes there. Would that be acceptable? I would think that the committee would consider that acceptable. Right next to it, you have homes that are already that size. So why can't it happen mid-block?
I guess the justification would be, sir, that you're not next to an arterial road where intensification is desired. Anyway, all right, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I've listened carefully to what the applicant has said, and I know he's gone through quite a bit of explanations that really gave me some time to consider, but also hearing from the debutante around this not being a fit with the neighborhood, and that was something that I wanted to clarify because of the staff report. The staff report itself is really very detailed, and it goes through a detailed lot study for which, this is being identified to be one of the smallest lots that would be within that streetscape. And although you might think it's a mixed neighborhood, the identification of this is saying that, pretty much it has to be sensitive, gradual, and fit with the existing physical character. And I don't think that I see that happening here. And so, given that, and given the staff report, and given the testimony from the debutante, I'm going to put forward a motion to refuse this application.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Can I get someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan, are you in favor of Ms. Sankar's motion to refuse? Mr. Khan, are you in favor of Ms. Sankar's motion to refuse the application at 14 Faith? Okay, thank you. Mr. Khan is in favor of Ms. Sankar's motion, so that motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously refused. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go back to item number 3, 227 Connaught Avenue. We've tried to get a hold of the area residents, Mr. Nushis, N-U-S-H-I-S. Unfortunately, we've had no luck, so we're just dealing with Mr. Mitkarski. This is 227 Connaught Avenue. I'll go back to it. We had 7 variances there. Mr. Mitkarski, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm sorry for the holdup. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us today?
That's it, actually. I can say a couple words about the letter of objection from John. He says that he doesn't agree with the variances, but in my opinion, even if we reduce the numbers, that's like not a big difference because, for example, 30 centimeters is like 1 feet, and it shouldn't impact the neighborhood that much, even if we have these variances approved.
Okay, thank you, sir. And you're also aware that the city planning had no objection to your report, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the west and east elevation drawings submitted to the committee as attachments 1 and 2 to their report. So you're aware of that report, sir?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having listened to the applicant and reviewing the reports from Urban Forestry and the Planning Department, I would move a motion to approve, subject to planning's condition of the proposal being developed substantially in accordance with the west elevation and east elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment attached to their report, and to the urban forestry requirements.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Thank you.
one.
Sorry for the delay. Item number 6, 43 Strathgowan Crescent. We had Jay Smith. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, we've already dealt with that item. We are on number 7.
Did we deal with number 6? Hang on. I don't think we dealt with it.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
we did.
Did we deal with him? Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Jumping around here, my apologies. Okay, item number 7. 25 BESSBOROUGH Drive. I have, the agent is a Stepan Sukaisyan, Sukiasyan. Are you there?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair. It's
Yes. Hello,
Sukiasyan.
Sophia. Before you start, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people registered to speak. If you'd like to give the committee a presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal, sir.
Sure,
And
and
actually,
before the
before you
clock,
start-
if I may
start,
present,
there's a report from City Planning dated the 2nd of February, 2022. They have no objections to your application, provided that the site exterior main wall heights are developed substantially in accordance with the north and south side elevation drawings attached to their report. Did you have the opportunity to read that report, sir?
yes, I have, Mr. Chair, and we're in agreement to the condition.
Okay, thank you. So if you could, again, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Stepan Sukiasyan. I'm the agent representing the owners at 25 BESSBOROUGH Drive. And if I may, please share my screen before starting the clock.
Stephen, only city staff are allowed to share their screens. So up on the
Okay.
screen right now is your site plan.
Okay, no problem. I just had a presentation made to show some of the variances done in the neighborhood. That's why I wanted to share the screen.
Can you please go ahead with your presentation?
Sure. The project is a proposed second floor and rear addition, proposed facade alteration, and interior alteration to existing two-story dwelling. Relief is requested for the lot coverage, floor space index, side yard setbacks, building length, eaves projection into side yard, and side exterior wall heights as proposed in COA hearing notice. We worked through a zoning review to identify all the required variances. However, due to time constraints, we used a waiver in order to address comments from the city for corrections and reductions. And we worked with planning department to reduce some of the proposed numbers for some of the variances, such as the floor space index, item number 7, lot coverage, number 5, and building length, number 6. This was done in order to bring the proposal closer to the average parameters of the neighbor dwellings. We gave special attention to the proposed floor space index and then reduced it to closer to the neighborhood average of 0.7 FSI, which can be confirmed by our planner on file, Denise McMullen. The north side yard proposed eave projection, variance number 3, And side yard setback variances number 4, number 2, and number 9 relate to an existing condition. The existing north side exterior wall is 0.47 meter from the property line, and the existing roof already projects about 0.35 meter into the side yard. So the addition following the projection of the existing wall will trigger these variances proposed. We've also done research to identify variances proposed in recent COE applications and found close to 100 projects in 500-meter radius which requested very similar variances. I've done a table, but the variances were needed for side yard setbacks on almost in all of these projects, in building length, and especially lot coverage and FSI. Any construction almost always triggered these variances. We also found a number of approved proposals with FSI and lot coverage higher than what we are proposing. The proposed outside side yard setback also follows the neighborhood standard of 0.9 meters. We're proposing 1.03. Similar variances were noticed for roof projection and side exterior wall height variances. Of course, the design style of the dwelling can be subjective. However, we think that the additions we propose are very subtle and mix well with the existing contextual colors and proportions. The proposed style is not a new introduction in this neighborhood, as we found numerous new builds with similar proportions and in some cases similar variances. The proposed variances do not directly relate to either the front or rear facades. The variance for the wall height is only for a portion of the exterior side walls, which make up the parapet walls. While the remainder of the wall height and total building height will comply to the allowed zoning bylaws. We think that the contextual impact of the proposed development is well balanced with the needs of the owner and modern dwelling requirements. But how are these impacts measured? Besides the neighborhood standards that I mentioned, the proportions and the materials used, cast shadows can be a good impact indicator. The additions will not impact the neighborhood to the south. The sun path rises from the east to the south and sets in the west. The addition will be low impact to the neighborhood to the north at 27 BESSBOROUGH Drive, as the proposed addition will be set back from the rear wall of existing dwelling at 27 BESSBOROUGH Drive. We are proposing a balcony which is within the size allowance of zoning bylaw for balconies in the rear, and will feature a side privacy wall to lower the impact on the neighbor. The views are very similar to what can be seen from a large window. We'll protect all the large trees in the rear, which provide additional screening to the properties at the rear. And to summarize the process of this project development, we've designed additions that are subtle in nature, are low impact, and well proportioned. We worked with planning department to reduce some of the proposed variances. We have a supporting planning staff report. We've also met with the neighbors in a time given after the notices were sent and before the hearing day to address some of the concerns or answer some of the questions with the neighbors that the neighbors might have. And we've collected 16 signatures in support of this application in the neighborhood on BESSBOROUGH Drive, on Southley Avenue, and Sutherland Drive. So we think that the proposed application meets the 4 tests. The variances are minor. The proposal is desirable for the appropriate development and use of the building. The general intent and purpose of city's zoning bylaws and official plan are maintained. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Can you hear me now?
Mr. Khan, you have to speak up.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
Okay, I have a problem with audio-visual today. Anyhow, I will pass on the question to somebody else.
Mr. Khan, we can hear you clear. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. My question is about the variance number 7. FSI is too high. Would you kindly justify why should we accept 0.71?
Sir, did you hear Mr. Khan's question? It was with regards to variance number 7. He wanted your justification for the floor space index of 0.71.
Definitely. I've worked with the planning department. I've been told that the average in the neighborhood of FSI is 0.7, so we brought it closer to that number. And according to research we've done, there are many houses, I'd say about 20 dwellings within 500-meter radius that requested this variance, and it's close to the number that we're proposing. On 43 BESSBOROUGH Drive, there is a FSI of 0.81, and then I can give you many addresses which have a number more than 0.7 meter, and then there's addresses that have 0.68, 69, and more than half had the variance done that included the FSI. So any construction that we do will have this variance, and the number just depends on the requirement of the project. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? We'll move on to the next person on next deputant. I have a Susan Koish, C-O-I-S-H. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my husband will be speaking on my behalf. And my name is Susan Koish, and I live at 23 BESSBOROUGH. And this is my husband, Michael Kerr, with whom I live at 23
Okay,
BESSBOROUGH.
so if Mr. Kerr, if you'd like to give us, if I could get your full name and address, please.
Michael Kerr, 23 BESSBOROUGH Drive.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, thank you. Before I start, I should let you know that Ms. Gamble, who put in an objection, had an appointment that she could not avoid, so she won't be here to speak in person. I have lived at 23 BESSBOROUGH for about 32 years. In that time, almost every house on the block has been renovated and enlarged. As you can see from the pictures that were submitted with our submissions, the vast majority of these renovations have respected the architecture and style of Leaside, and particularly BESSBOROUGH, which is a signature street in this community. This is the first time I have objected to anything. Why? Because this proposed house is ultra modern. It's going to have an overhanging second floor. It will be aluminum clad and will stick out like a sore thumb. When the applicant says that the design is subtle, low impact, and well proportioned, and very subtle and fits with the neighborhood, he could not be further wrong. It is too large. It would be too close to our property line. It would invade our privacy. And the last photo in my written submissions is a view out of our window overlooking to the north and east. But before dealing with the specifics of the design, I want to take us to the test that the applicant must meet. As a matter of law, the applicant must convince you that the variances are required. Page 2 of the application asks, why is it not possible to comply? The applicant's answer is, quote, additions to exist dwelling require relief to zoning bylaws. That's not a reason. It's a statement of desire. Therefore, the applicant has failed to meet the threshold test, which is a cogent reason to request the variances. We all know that a perfectly nice house can be built within the bylaws, and this is the second attempt to stuff a balloon into a small box. The attempt was made in October, and apparently Planning department summarily bounced it. I know that the changes are extraordinarily small from the October version, which was not acceptable, and therefore, in my submission, this application still fails the 4 tests that it has to achieve, because it's not really an application for a minor variance. The 10 variances bundled together are not minor, and the applicant is twisting the intent of the bylaws to get what she should not be permitted. If granted, we will lose privacy. The lots are small and privacy is at a premium. A balcony with a commanding view of half a dozen backyards is in front to the neighbors. We would lose our view, sight lines, and sense of space and face an extra long, extra tall, dark wall, which will run closely beside our property line past our deck. The magnitude of this project is way too large. It will be oppressive, and the statistics show that. Before I go to there, I must say that the applicant has no doubt used many examples where the lots are substantially bigger. So Southley to the east, the lots are about twice as big. Bessborough north of about 35 or something. New block, huge houses, huge lots. So I won't go through the stats because you've got them, but as the Leaside brief says, if granted, this will create a horrible precedent and will be a springboard for even bigger and more incompatible buildings. Those are my submissions. My wife would like to make brief submissions on her own if that's acceptable to the
No,
committee.
sir, you've got 20 minutes. Can you 20 seconds, sir. Can you summarize?
Yes, I can. I'm actually just going to summarize. I just
Madam,
think
your husband spoke for you. So do you have anything that you're going to add that's different from what he said?
No, it's fine, thank you.
The balance is completely out, and this is the second crack at trying to do something.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Timothy Civil, C-I-V-I-L. Are you there?
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Timothy Civil, and the address is 27 Bessborough.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for the opportunity. We have spoken to the homeowners, and I think, as their agent said, they have listened. I don't think it's fair to characterize that they've necessarily done anything that is of substance to respond to the concerns that are being raised. We have some serious concerns about the variances that are being requested, what results from those variances, and the impact that they would have on our property. We shared those in the letter, and I know you probably have had a chance to take a look at that. You know, it's our respectful opinion that the variances, that relate particularly to the north side lot, the setbacks, and the height of the project, result in a development that adversely impacts our property. We're concerned about really the cumulative impact of all of the variances that are sought. We don't think individually they're minor, and certainly viewed in the context of the total project, they're not minor variances. The plans that result from them do have adverse impact on our property, our property rights, our privacy, and our security. You know, we have concerns, particularly has been raised earlier, about the rear patio structure that results from these variances. It's a second-story balcony that is going to certainly impact our adjacent property. We've got 2 existing bedroom windows at the rear of our home. The balcony is basically right beside our master bedroom. It has an impact on sunlight, personal privacy. And, you know, I guess what we would really be concerned about is it's quite a departure from anything that exists around us with the surrounding properties. I do think that the structure that cantilevers out over the back is a covered structure. It's all of these canopies and other sort of covered structures that are part of the design really are not being counted for the floor space index or really for purposes of taking into consideration the coverage that the property has. This is already a very large property, and it's a more imposing property, I think, than is being represented. I think it's actually, to be honest with you, understated in terms of its impact when you look at the variances requested. So those are our concerns, and those are the concerns we've shared with you in our letter, and we've shared with our neighbors. And our hope is that the committee's concerns, I heard some of them voiced already around floor space index. You know, I'm hoping our concerns resonate with you, and thank you again for the opportunity to have a chance to speak to it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, I'll move to the next person on the list. I have a Drew Carroll. Are you there? Drew Carroll, Carroll. Are you there?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Carroll, can I get your full name and address, please?
It's my given name's Gordon Hill.
Hang
I
on.
live at down the street from the Polchies at 37.
Sir, can I get your name again?
Drew Carroll.
Okay, all right, 37 Bessborough. Thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application, and I urge you, sir, please don't repeat material we've already heard.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been living on Bessborough since 1983 and have seen a lot of changes to the neighborhood. I want to go on record that I support what the Polchies are doing. I personally went through some major construction similar to the Polchies in 2019. We did opt not to go to City of Adjustments or do any apply for any variances because we did achieve what we wanted without doing that. Though I do understand that your role is to not look at style and design in terms of what you guys consider when making your decisions, as I learned. So I wanted to go on record in saying that we do support this, and we look forward to seeing the changes to Leaside, and I want to generally overall say we support the Polchies in what they're doing.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, thank you. We'll go to the next person on the list. I have an Adam Carlson. Are you there? Adam Carlson, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. Adam Carlson, resident of 30 Bessborough Drive across the street from the applicant.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application, and again, I urge you, please don't repeat material we've already heard.
Sure. Thank you for the time. We moved into the Bessborough Street 5.5 years ago. Love the street, 2 children. It's going to be our home for many years to come. I'd start by saying off that anyone that would be surprised by this application, wouldn't be involved in the community. This has been well socialized with the neighborhood for, over 2 years at this point. I believe that feedback has already been given by the vast majority of neighbors into this initial application as it was created. Therefore, I'm one of 16 neighbors, I believe, who live around the applicant, who have a primary view of the property in question, that have signed a letter of support for the renovation. I believe that all 16 members of the street that signed this have reviewed the proposed plans in full detail. I have certainly done so. So in my opinion, this proposal is in line with the recent Committee of Adjustment applications for the neighborhood. I would respectfully disagree with some of the statements made earlier opposing. I do believe that precedent has been already set in Leaside for anyone that is in the neighborhood can actively see homes with a very, very similar aesthetic have been built. As I said, this has been a socialization period that has lasted not only months, it's lasted years, but more recently the two applicants, Rob and Kelly, hosted an information session. I believe their architect was there as well to help give full information to the group. Everyone asked a variety of different questions, and I felt like the answers that came back were very fulsome. That being said, very few people attended, probably because most didn't have opposition to the project at all. I'm aware of the neighboring oppositions, but in my view, those represent the minority, and the consensus is clearly shown in the support letter that's put forward to the committee today. So with that, I do believe that this proposal being put forward is very much in the spirit of what the neighborhood represents. I think that you can see that by the overwhelming support you're being put in front of you. And I think that in context of the neighborhood, the committee should support and move forward here today. So with that, I'll leave it for you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Nancy Gamble or Neil McLaughlin. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, Nancy had an appointment and she's unable to speak at the hearing. She did submit a letter to the committee, which was included in your packages.
Yes, I've seen it.
She's also submitted supplementary communication today. If you'd like, I can put that up on the screen. It's
Okay.
very short for the members to read.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ms. Reed. Okay, we have that up there. I'm going to move to the next. Our last person on the list is a Jeff Cattell. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, Mr. Cattell, are you there?
Jeff Cattell.
Yes, can I get
Yes,
your full
I am.
name and address, please?
I'm with the Leaside Residents Association, 1601 Bayview Avenue. We wrote in opposition to this proposal, and what I understand here is that there are two sides to this. There are some folks further away who are somewhat supportive. They signed off a form letter. And the immediate neighbors are very much in opposition, plus several other people. We just look at this from an objective perspective. This was the only application today that on your agenda today that we, took pen to paper and opposed. We feel that if you look at the variances here, that it does not meet the test, and it also does not meet the character of the neighborhood. If you look at the really important, there's 10 variances, which is far too many. But the key things like length and density, which is FSI, density of points, FSI of 0.7, that's not typical of the neighborhood at all. And the height of the side walls, that's going to create a tower in much higher than the prevailing side walls on homes on Bessborough. The lot coverage of 37.8%, very unusual actually to get a lot coverage application in Leaside. With all due respect, there is a strong street character and when people buy into the neighborhood, really we wish that they would respect that character. The homes have a certain gift, which is not a very modernistic look. It would have been preferred if a rear addition had been made instead of such a medley of different things. Anyway, so in summary, we feel that it does not meet the four tests. It's not minor. It's not desirable for the appropriate development of the land. Several of the variances are extreme, and the official plan says that no changes shall be made through rezoning, minor variance that is not in keeping with the physical character of the neighborhood. So with all due respect, it absolutely is within the terms of reference of the committee to be concerned about the physical character of the neighborhood. We live with this physical character, and we appreciate it in Leaside. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to the agent. Sir, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Yes, you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to reply.
Sure. First of all, the reason for relief, I think I already mentioned in my presentation that it's a balance between what the owners require and what the impact is on the context. My clients, they have 3 kids. Kelly Colchi is a social worker, so you can imagine that the modern living standards are a bit different than what it was when this neighborhood was built. So this house is small for them, so that's why they require relief, and that's why we're proposing some of these variances. The size of lots, I don't think the size of lots matters as much as the proportion of the dwelling to the lot, and as I mentioned, we've done the research. We also talked to planning department. It's not too far from the standard in the neighborhood what we're proposing. There are many houses, that requested similar variances. The heights of, we're not proposing to change the height of the dwelling. The maximum height will not be more than what the bylaw allows. Most of the walls are not going to be higher than what the bylaw allows of 7 meters. Only the additions or parts of the additions will have a parapet wall, which will be higher. That's why we're requesting that variance. The proportions, I think, they're similar to many houses done in the neighborhood that are modern. And as I mentioned, the style is very subjective, but there are many houses. We drove around. We also prepared some pictures of the houses. I can mention some of the addresses here. 14 Southley Avenue, 20 Southley Avenue, 18 Mallory Crescent, 31 Southley Avenue, 42 Sutherland Drive, 30 Ramsey Road, 32 Ramsey Road. These are modern houses done with similar proportions. The balcony structure in the back, we're not requesting variances for the size of the balcony. We are allowed to do a balcony up to 4 square meters or 40 square feet. And that's what we're trying to do. And the views from the balcony will be very similar to what the a large window would show. We are adding a side privacy wall to minimize the impact on the side. There is large trees in the back which protect the view to the rear. And then the heights of the windows, doors, these are not directly related to the variances we're proposing. We can do the sizes that we proposed without variances anyways. And then the neighborhood standards. The planning department is more versed in the standards, so we believe when they say that the average, we believe the planning department when they say the average in the neighborhood is 0.7. And then we also done research again. There's many houses. I've counted 94 houses that have been approved with similar variances that we're requesting. Um, and it's not really about the number of variances, but the each case is viewed individually. I think in this case, the variances that we're proposing is not too far from the existing dwelling. If you look at the site plan, you can see where the existing dwelling is in dashed line, and the addition is a thicker line. We're not too far from where the existing wall is. I think I answered all the concerns.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank the neighbors for coming out and expressing their concerns with regard to this application, and give us a sense of some of the mixed support that exists for this in the neighborhood. However, based on my the drive through the neighborhood on the site visit, and also on the support of the planning staff report, I do feel that the proposed variances seem to be in line with the current development that's taking place in the neighborhood, and that in that sense, the application can be considered minor and appropriate for this neighborhood. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application, subject to the planning staff condition that the side exterior main wall heights be developed substantially in accordance with the north and south side elevations drawings attached to the planning staff report dated February the 2nd, 2022.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second Mr. Kidd's motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Hunt dissenting. Sir, your application has been approved subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're now on item number 8, which is 68 Park Lane Circle. I have 2 people registered to speak. And that first is the agent, Nicole Parr, P-A-A-R. Are you there?
I am.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Nicole Parr, and I'm at 22 Blue Forest Drive, Toronto, Ontario, M3H4W2.
Okay, thank you, madam. Just want to ask, there's a report from City Planning dated the 2nd of February, which indicates that they have no objections to your application, provided that the front yard setback is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to their report. But there's also a report from Urban Forestry, which is recommending that variance number 1 be refused, as they're saying it requires the removal of 3 healthy bylaw protected trees. We have one other person registered to speak on this issue, so if you'd like to give the committee a presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal, I also suggest that you address this issue from Urban Forestry as well in your presentation.
Yes, I plan to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm here representing my client at 68 Park Lane Circle. We are here before you today asking for 1 variance, front yard setback. But I wanted to illustrate that the setback is only for a 1-story addition used to enter the proposed underground area. Can I please have the supporting image I submitted up on the screen, Ms. Reed? Thank you. So this image illustrates a little bit more clearly what our design intent is. As you'll see there, the main building itself will comply with the 30-meter setback that's required by zoning. It's only the 1-story addition that's tucked at the corner that is asking for relief, so the 12 meters. And I wanted to note, as you mentioned, Mr. Chair, that we do have a positive city staff report as long as we build substantially to the site plan, which we have absolutely no problem with. I did note 2 letters of objection in our file, but I think this illustration shows that the project would not be different than the neighborhood, as it's solely for the small addition. In response to the letter from Urban Forestry, I consulted with my arborist, Al Miley, and I was informed that these are 3 non-native trees who have reached their maturity in average condition, and that's stated in our arborist report, measuring 60 centimeters in diameter. While we definitely need to obtain the necessary approvals for tree removal, and we want to be respectful of the surrounding environment, I respectfully don't see how 3 average non-native trees in average condition should render this project unbuildable. As well, as per the arborist report, we would follow the replanting guidelines, which require us to plant 3 to 1, meaning we would plant 9 new trees to replace these 3 trees. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions, concerns, whatever the committee has to say to us.
Yes, I just wanted to mention, ma'am, I think that when I was up there looking at the site, the frontage of the property is very heavily forested, isn't it?
It is, and we will be, none of the city trees are affected in any way, and that's also seen in the arborist report, which states that all the trees will have the proper TPZ, and we're going to be using the existing driveway, so no construction will be happening around those trees.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have an Alareza Narozi. Are you there?
Yep.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Alireza Norouzi, 12 St. Phil Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. If I could get your thoughts on this application?
Sure. This area is a very luxury area, and the neighbor developed this a while ago, and we firmly believe that this building accessibility design will eliminate the consistency of urbanization in this luxury area. The other one which I wanted to mention it's our belief that as soon as the rest of the neighbor notice there is a chance to build such as accessibility, they will be absolutely demand to develop the same thing. And also it's impossible for this area to changing the setbacks from 30 to 12, which is a big issue in this area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to the agent. Madam, you heard the comments from the last speaker, if you'd like to reply.
I have heard them, and I think that the illustration that I presented earlier might clarify the project for Mr. Narosi, that it's just the small building in the front, the 1-story addition that will have the 12-meter setback. The rest of the building, the main building, will have the 30-meter setback as required per bylaw. And as noted earlier, city staff also support us in this matter, who always take into account the neighborhood, and they feel it is minor and meets the 4 tests. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. This application to me is a bit complicated because it is just one variance for which the staff report, gives a specific condition to that one variance. However, forestry is extremely huge and adamant about this. And the fact is that even moving forward to approve it, it will be subject to forestry. And if it's subject to forestry, there's no way that this could sort of go ahead according to the forestry report. And I'm not willing to move forward without forestry having done whatever their due diligence or that sort of discussion takes place. So I guess, Mr. Chair, I want to make a motion, but I'm torn between either refusing it or deferring it for them to be able to have more of a discussion with forestry. I feel like I need a bit more input about the forestry point from maybe if it's our planning team that could share their thoughts on if deferring this would be, ample for them to have a bit of a discussion and maybe change the thoughts of forestry, or forestry has a different review of it. Because if I do say subject to forestry, even if I approve it, this application is denied because it will be subject to forestry saying, variance number 1 is not approved.
Ms. Sankar, what is forestry asking?
I thought
that'll answer your
Yeah,
question, what you should do. What is forestry recommending?
refusal.
Refusal of the application. I think, Ms. Sankar, if
If
you're
they're recommending refusal, then there seems to be no room for negotiation.
That's that's what I meant. I didn't, I'm trying to meet halfway between. I'm very sorry about having done this, but then if that's the case, I'm going to put forward my motion because I feel that forestry being the experts and having put that in, and it was a condition number 5 that tells me that, this is something they feel very strongly about. Then for that reason, I'll have to put forward a motion, and it's only one variance, and that's the variance that they take issue with. This is, I'll motion to refuse this application.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Sankar to refuse the application. Can I have someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Kidd and Mr. Khan, and I won't support Ms. Sankar's motion. So can I get another motion, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I share Ms. Sankar's concerns about this application, how it's to be dealt with exactly. But as far as I'm concerned, the best way is to go forward with this is I'm going to put in a proposal to accept the application and make it subject to a forestry condition, and we'll let the applicant work things out with forestry as best they can.
And it's also subject to city planning conditions.
Yes, planning condition that the front yard setback be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to the planning staff report dated February the 2nd.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second Mr. Kidd's motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Hunt and Ms. Sankar dissenting, and I'll support Mr. Kidd's motion, so that motion carries. Madam, your application has been approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Item number 9, 210 Homewood Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Hamid Behesht, B-E-H-E-S-H-T. Are you there, sir?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm here. Good morning, committee members and committee staff. My name is Hamid Behesht from Homeland, the co-designer of the house from 49 Wycliffe Crescent in Toronto.
Thank you, sir. I'm just going through your file. I note that we have a report from City Planning dated the 31st of January. They have no objections to your application, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the west elevation, east elevation drawings submitted to the committee, attached as attachments 1 and 2 to their report. Have you had the opportunity to review that report, sir?
Yes, I did, and I thank them for their support, and we're totally in agreement with the condition.
Okay, sir. I see that we have 3 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'm just going to ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this morning?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. If there's a question, I'm here
Okay.
to answer.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a problem with
Mr. Khan, can you speak up? It's hard to hear you.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Mr. Khan, sit up straight when you speak. It might help.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for you. Can you hear me now?
We hear you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I'm taking the staff.
Mr. Khan, I can't hear you.
I'm taking the staff.
That's a little better.
recommendations.
Hang on. Can you start over?
Sir, I'm taking staff actions will be developed substantially in accordance with the west and east elevation drawings. Related to the community adjustment attached and to application be approved.
Okay, Mr. Khan, I'm just going, put your hand up if I'm summarizing what you said correctly. You're recommending the application be approved? Okay, thank you. We have a motion for Mr. Khan to approve the application. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, committee members, and committee staff.
Thank you. Item number 10, 130 Goulding Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is Asan Zarian, Z-A-R-E-I-A-N. Are you there?
Hi, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, can I get your
My
full
name
name
is
and address,
Asan.
please, sir?
My name is Asan Zarian. The address is 448 Easier Street, Richmond Hill.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to say I've gone through your file. I note that there are no recommended conditions or any staff comments. Is there anything, you have 5 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this morning?
No, nothing actually. If there is any question, I would be glad to answer your question.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt? Oh, Mr. Hunt just disappeared.
Sorry, I'm practicing my magic tricks.
Disappearing act.
Based on the fact that it's a straightforward application, there's no department comments or concerns, I would move approval of this application.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Okay, I'm just going to ask the committee, would the committee like to take a short break? Yeah, okay, thank you. We'll take a 5-minute break. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Committee is back in session. We are now on item number 11, 153 Parkholme Avenue. I have two people registered to speak, and the agent is Ali Tanha, Tanha. Are you there?
Chair, I'm present.
Yes, can I
Good
get
day,
your
Mr.
full name
Chair,
and
I'm
address,
present.
please?
Yes, Ali Tanner from Ali Design Inc. Address on file, 59 Rainey Crescent, East York.
Okay, thank you. Just going through your files, sir, I note that there's a couple of city reports here on file. There's a recommended condition from Urban Forestry. There's also a report from City Planning dated the 31st of January 2022. They have no objections to your application, provided that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan, west elevation and east elevation drawings attached as attachments 1, 2, and 3 to their report. And I just wanted to ask, sir, if you've had the opportunity to read that report.
Yes, I've reviewed the report and I'm in total agreement with the report.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have one other person registered to speak, so if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure. If the staff could please pull up the presentation file, I would go review very quickly the items. It is obviously for a single family detached home. We have a total of 4 variances. I start with number 2, which is requesting a coverage of 32%, while 30% is allowed. It is within the guideline of the planning department. 32, and also we are requesting that coverage without requesting any setback variances for any side for this building, nor length or depth variances. So we feel that is very justified. The other matter that I would like to go through very quickly, as I believe the number is a little bit misleading, is number 1, which is pointing out the rear deck located. I have highlighted that with in orange on the site plan that you can is on the screen. The actual the number that is mentioned in the notice is 3.97 meters, while 2.5 is allowed. I would like to quickly mention that the 3.97 is there, including the landing that is attached to the rear deck, and it's not included in the actual space of the deck. It's slightly lower, but it has been considered as the length for that deck. The actual depth is 2.6. And also, this is based on the definition. If we consider the rear wall of the house, the wall right adjacent to the deck, while the rear main wall of the building is further back as marked on the deck, which is sitting right at the 17 meter allowed by the bylaw. So in general, I think that the variance we're asking is 2.6 and not 397, but it is worded as 397 because it's also including the landing is included in that number. The other variances we have are regarding the height. I would like to mention that as shown on the site plan and the survey, there is a slight slope from where the building is sitting towards the road. And as the old bylaw measures the height from the center line of the road, we could not comply to the old height, old bylaws requirement for the height, but we are complying with the new bylaw in terms of the total height. But based on the old bylaw, we are asking for 9.42. And also for the side wall heights, I would like to make that a little bit clear. If we go to page 2 of the presentation, I have highlighted the areas that on the sidewall that the height is measured from, and that 9.03 meter mentioned in the notice is taken from, which is the peak of the gables on the sides and not the majority of the height of the wall, which is 7.8 meters. So basically the height of the main wall is way lower than 9.03, which sounded a little bit concerning for the neighbor. Just wanted to mention that is the same scenario happens on the other side wall as well, page 3, but it is within the base concept that the number in the notice is not really representing the whole wall, and it's only where the gables are located around the windows to accommodate the windows. At this point, I will be happy to answer any questions. I think the variances are very minor.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll move to the next person on our deputant. I have Aneda Musavi or Orist Hernkiw, Hrynkiw. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Orist Hernkiw, 157 Park Home Avenue, which is the property immediately to the west of the subject
sir.
property.
If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Yes, okay. First of all, what I have no objection to. I have no objection to item number 1 on the variance list. It's a large house. They should be able to have a nice deck for a large family and maybe a dog or two and maybe some plants. What I am concerned about is the roof height. Now, the letter sent to us by the committee showed the proposed height of the side exterior main walls is 9.03. My calculation, as I set out in the letter, is this is over a 20% increase from what's allowed. Hearing the agent just now, he's telling us that this is the roof gables and the actual sidewall line is 7.8 meters, which is only 0.3 meters above what's allowed. My question is, which height is the one that the committee takes into account? The total height, including the window gables, or the main line of the side walls? Can you tell me that?
We would be taking what we think is appropriate, sir, based on the recommendations from what we hear in the hearing today, as well as the input from staff.
And the answer is it 9.03 or 7.8?
Sir, did you have the opportunity to read the city planning report?
No, I don't know where that is or how to access it.
It's attached on the material that's filed with this application and available online. So I'll just read it to you. The application is proposing a west side exterior main wall height of 9.03 meters, where zoning bylaw number 569-2013 permits a maximum side exterior main wall height of 7.5 meters.
Yes, I have that. And
the proposed side exterior main wall height is due, in part, to the roof line to accommodate windows, as shown on the west and east elevation drawings. The side exterior main wall height, as measured from the established grade to the underside of the eaves, is 7.8 meters.
Okay, I have that information now. Okay, so 7.8 meters is only 0.3 meters higher than what's allowed. What is
correct.
that, about 1 foot? Okay, so if that's the relevant measurement, then I guess I have no objection.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to the agent. Are you there, sir? Mr. Tana?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
Mr.
you
Chair.
heard the comments from the previous speaker. If there's anything you'd like to add?
I think the confusion now is resolved. I had sent them a letter kind of explaining the same matter, but I assume it was more confusing rather than helping the matter. But I'm happy that the matter is kind of clarified now. I don't have any further comments.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I accept the explanation provided by the applicant, and in my view, the requested variances are minor. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application, subject to the planning staff condition that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan, west elevation and east elevation drawings, submitted to the Committee of Adjustment, attached as attachments 1, 2, and 3 to the planning staff report dated January the 31st, 2022, and also subject to forestry condition.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now on item number 12, 54 Harwood Road. We have two people registered to speak. The agent is Graham Barrett. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon, committee members, Mr. Chair.
Yes, hi, Mr. Barrett. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, sir. Graham Barrett, 1575 Dundas Street West, Unit 2, Toronto, M6K 1T9.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have one other person that registered to speak. You have two variances before us. If you'd just like to give us a brief presentation on what you see as, and I note that there is no staff comments or recommended conditions on file with your application. So if you'd like to give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure, gladly. I'd submitted some presentation materials, including a cover letter. So I can just go through really what I mentioned there. This is a proposal to demolish the existing garage you can see in the photos on your screen there, and rebuild a new structure. This structure that you can see, the existing, currently encroaches on the neighboring property to the south, and this will be rectified. The new shed will be located entirely on the property of 54 Harwood Road, and requires a variance for lot coverage, 8.11% proposed, 5% max. And the existing garage to be demolished is similar in terms of footprint at 7.05% coverage. The owner would simply like to replace this dilapidated structure and build something a little more useful and a little nicer looking on his property. And these one-story accessory structures are the norm in the area. If you scroll through to the next couple of pictures I provided, get at least the best kind of photos I could get from my client's backyard. Perhaps a little further down there. The variance for rear yard soft landscaping is required to extend the driveway somewhat and fit a legal parking space entirely on the site. And other rear yard landscaping, both hard and soft, is being proposed, but a significant amount of green space will remain. The owner has spoken with several of his neighbors and mailed in support letters. I also reached out to many others informing them of this proposal and offering to chat. I haven't heard back from any. We've got 4 letters of support, including both adjacent. Really, to sum up, this proposed structure will not be visible from the street and will present no negative impacts on neighbors. And the two on either side are in support. And I believe this passes the 4 tests. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barrett. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Can you hear me?
Mr.
Yes,
Khan, you're very hard to hear. You have to speak up.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little better.
I can hear you barely, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now, I have a problem with my laptop today, and audio is not working. So I'm sorry about that. But my question is, how far ancillary structure is from the main building? Question 1. And question 2 is, how close to the south line structure is?
So just to be sure I heard that correctly, the distance of the accessory structure from the dwelling, the existing dwelling, and the south setback is what you're looking for.
That's right.
Let me see if I can pull that up. Just a moment, sir.
Thank you kindly.
Do we have the proposed site plan, Ms. Reed? Oh, we got it, okay.
Yeah, the distance to the proposed shed based on the site plan is 15.19 meters. And the south setback is 0.35 meters. And if you look at the site plan, you can see there's that strange jog to the property line at the rear.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And we also have the outline of the existing shed to be removed, that gray line that you can see.
Okay, thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
About Mr. Chair, my concern is about south line. 5 meters. Is it from the offset or the jog that sets in or property line?
I'm sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, was that a question for me or?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, it's for you, sir.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Very difficult to hear.
It's very hard to hear, Mr. Khan.
Sir, I'm very
Mr. Khan, we've lost your audio feed. We can't hear you at all.
okay. Proceed.
Okay, all right. Is there any further questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Judy Bishop. Are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, can I get your full name and
I'm
address,
here.
please?
Judy Bishop, 45 Hadley Road, Toronto, M4S2N8.
Okay, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
I actually have no objections. I live behind this house, and I have no objections to the structure. And I really didn't understand how this whole process worked, because I really have some questions, and I guess it's for Graham, about how the structure will work, but maybe I should reach out to him instead of wasting your time.
Yes,
Okay,
madam,
so
if they're
thank you.
not related to the actual variances, then you'd be better off to reach out to Mr. Barrett directly.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to Mr. Barrett. Don't think there's, Mr. Barrett, you heard, I guess Ms. Bishop wants to get a hold of you, if you could get in touch with her later on.
I'm sure I'd be happy to speak with her. I believe she said her address was number 45, and I did mail out a letter to...
Mr. Barrett, her phone number is 416. No, I'm sorry, I can't give that out, I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Chair, my information is on the application, which is on the Application Information Center website. If Ms. Bishop would like to pull that from the AIC and get in touch, I would be happy to answer any questions that she may have.
Okay, thank you. All right. Could I get there's no further questions of the speaker. If I could get a motion on this application? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I think that, this application has not only been well presented, but in reviewing, it's well presented in that form as well. And I think with the amount of support that's for this application as well, I feel comfortable in making a motion to approve this application as is.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. Mr. Barrett, your application has been approved without condition.
Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you. Item number 13, 31 Bessborough Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is David McKay. Are you there, Mr. McKay?
Yes, I am, sir.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, David Mackay, 7050 Western Road, Suite 230, Woodbridge, Ontario, L4L8G7.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mackay. I've gone through your file. I note that we have no comments or recommended conditions from staff. Is there, we have the one variance before us dealing with the area of the non-encroaching platforms. Pretty clear what you're asking for. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this morning?
Yeah. Yes. The only item, and it may have been unclear, is that our client did obtain letters of support from all the surrounding neighbors. It was included with a PDF file in the AIC as the notice sign, but there are letters of support for all of the surrounding neighbors for this proposal. In addition, it is in the rear yard. It fits within the overall area, and we're not affecting the one tree that's in the rear yard. We're outside of that tree protection zone. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that committee may have.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, I think, Mr. Chair, this really meets the four tests. It's very minor in nature. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you. Item number 14, which is 127 Hillhurst Boulevard. I have two people registered to speak. The agent is Felix Leicher, Leicher. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Felix Leicher. I reside at 26 Hazel Avenue, Toronto, M4E1C5.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, I've gone through your file. I note that there are two letters on file from staff. There's one from Transportation Services dated the 2nd of February. They have no objections to the front yard parking. There was one from Planning dated the 2nd of February. They're recommending reducing the floor space index from 0.68 to 0.60 times the lot area or under. And if the revised application is approved, staff recommends that the building length and depth be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to their report. I just wanted to ask, sir, would you like to defer your application to discuss this issue with city planning?
I'm not prepared for that question. I don't think so. I think we can go ahead as it is.
Pardon me?
We can go ahead with the application without deferral.
You'd like to go forward with your application?
Yes.
Okay, well, okay, if you could give the committee a presentation on the merits of your application and especially why we should approve a floor space index of 0.68. If you could do that, sir, you have 5 minutes.
Sure, thank you. This proposal in front of you is for a rear and side addition to our client's existing home at Hillhurst Avenue. Our client, a family of 5, live in a home for almost 1 decade. With their 3 sons getting old on the plan of their grandparents to age for the family, the existing living space is no longer sufficient for their needs. Our clients love the neighborhood and the physical character its buildings provide, and therefore asked us to develop a design for the addition which completes the character of the existing home and would allow them to stay living there. There are 5 variances in front of you. Variance 2 regarding the front yard setback and variance 5 regarding the parking on the driveway are both existing conditions which are commonly seen in the proximity of the property. Variance 1 and 3 regarding building depth and length are referring to the proposed basement extension below the planned rear deck. The above stories are stepping back to satisfy the requirements for building depth. The building length are substantially shorter than the basement. They are at 1.73 meters on the first floor and 17.73 meters on the first floor and 17.38 meters on the main floor. We agree with planning staff for the recommendations of approval. If the variances are approved, they should be tied to the site plan provided. Regarding the floor space index, with the proposal in front of you, the existing house will be preserved and complemented with a rear yard and side yard addition. In our opinion, the proposed addition is sensitive and modest in the development of mass, scale, and build form, and this is in keeping with the character and context of Hillhurst Boulevard and the further context. The addition respects the existing house and complements it without infringing on the existing building, the neighbors, or the street. The owners consulted with the adjacent neighbors, and all of the ones they spoke with were very supportive of the proposal. The next door neighbors on both sides provided the written support for the proposal. We don't quite agree with the planning staff that a reduction in floor space index to 0.6 would be more consistent with the context than our proposal. The suggested reduction could be achieved by just shortening the building length by less than 1 meter, which would have next to no impact on massing, scale, or build form, and would not be visible from the street. The FSI chart which provided with our supporting documents shows several approvals of FSI greater than 0.68. There have also been 2 approvals right across the street from this property at 145 Hillhurst Boulevard and 154, which were approved and built at 0.68. Further studies of the existing structures identify other properties on Hillhurst Boulevard with an existing FSI greater than the proposed. For example, 118 Hillhurst at 0.82, 179 Hillhurst at 0.92, 205 Hillhurst at 0.69, 207 Hillhurst at 1.07. I would ask you to consider the evidence I just mentioned and would respectfully ask you to consider to approve the requested variances.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. My question to you, sir, is about variance number 4. Are you taking staff recommendations as modified 0.68 and they are suggesting 6.0%? Taking their advice or not?
If this is the only option to get approval, we would take this, but we don't quite agree with the argument that it would be more in context. As we are building within an existing structure, we tied to the existing structure. We're not changing the existing house, and therefore some room sizes might be bigger than we would usually design them. And in order to get an extra bedroom, we have to have this floor space index. Otherwise, we need to change the existing house.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Harold Smith. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, I'm Harold Smith. I live at 150 Hillhurst Boulevard.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, I'd like to start by saying I'm a retired architect and I was designated as an expert witness at TLAB. I urge you to please support planning staff's report recommending that variance 4 regarding the floor space index be reduced from 0.68 to 0.6 times the lot area or under. That planning staff recommended an FSI of 0.6 and wrote a report for an addition is very significant. In 2019, an applicant applied for minor variances for including FSI for 139 Hillhurst Boulevard. Because the Committee of Adjustment limited the FSI to 0.6, in line with planning staff report at that time, the applicant appealed to TLAB. One of the members of this panel was at the same panel that limited the FSI to 0.6 at that time. The city opposed the TLAB appeal for 139 Hillhurst. Planning staff identified Hillhurst Boulevard between Mona Drive and Proudfoot, containing about 50 single-family dwellings, as an immediate context area within the broader neighborhood bounded generally by Lytton Boulevards, to the north, St. Clements to the south, Avenue Road to the east, and Alexandra Wood and Caldo to the west. The TLAB panel chair accepted that there is a significant difference between the broader and immediate context, and that the immediate context ought to be given greater relevance in assessment and evaluation. The average FSI for this immediate context area was, at the time of the committee hearing, then 0.46. It's risen fractionally due to a minor addition at 122 Hillhurst. That's been the only change since 2019. Approving a 0.68 FSI for 127 Hillhurst would erode the prevailing neighborhood character, encouraging future applicants to apply for much higher FSIs. Today, there are 2 to 3 vacant houses on this block. Their owners will most certainly apply for FSIs above 0.6. If approved, it will further erode the prevailing physical character of this immediate context area. Neighbors near these properties will likely be concerned about potential impacts for many significant zoning variances. The 0.68 FSI contravenes Official Plan Chapter 4, 4.1 Neighborhoods Policy 5, requiring developments to, quote, respect and reinforce the existing physical character of the geographic neighborhood, including in particular prevailing massing, scale, density of nearby residential properties. In addition to failing the test for official plan intent, the requested 0.68 FSI variance fails the test for bylaw intent, and it's not minor. The TLAB panel chair concluded in his 139 Hillhurst ruling, quote, in disposing of this appeal, the appellant is encouraged to demonstrate that he can develop a sensitive and modest deployment of scale and built form that is in keeping with both the character and context of Hillhurst Boulevard between Proudfoot Avenue and Mona Drive. I urge the committee to please respect its 2019 decision limiting FSI to 0.6 for 139 Hillhurst, TLAB's denial of the applicant's appeal for FSI exceeding 0.6, and planning staff's report recommending that FSI not exceed 0.6 for 139 and 137 Hillhurst. And as for the properties that on the immediate context area that are above 0.6, the city staff member, Ms. Yishan Liu, who wrote the city's planning report for TLAB, said that the most frequently occurring FSI range in this context is 0.6 times and below. Please refer to the documents in my submission to the committee, the City of Toronto's reply witness statement package, the TLAB decision order for 1939 Hillhurst, and planning staff report for 127 Hillhurst. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? We'll go back to Mr. Leiker. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Yes. Can I get your, you've heard the comments from the previous speaker. If you'd like to reply to them, please.
Yes, sure. In our understanding of Mr. Smith's comments, he did not express any objection specific to any of the proposed variants other than the FSI proposed. He expressed a general concern that the any FSI exceeding 0.6 would not respect and reinforce the existing physical character of the neighborhood. To support this thesis, he cited a TLAB decision from 2019 regarding 139 Hillhurst Boulevard, wherein the requested main wall height of 3 meters higher than allowed and the requested FSI of 0.776 was not granted. While the proposal of 139 Hillhurst Boulevard was for a new build of integral garage and 3 stories of living space and a flat roof above, our design for 127 Hillhurst Boulevard proposes a 2-story addition which respectfully complements the existing home. We did not see any comparables between the proposal for 139 Hillhurst and the one which is here in front of you today. We would ask you to consider that the proposal is not for a new build, but for an addition, and we have to work within the constraints of the existing building, which will be restored and will be the face of the house to the street. As mentioned before, it is our opinion that the proposed addition to the existing house is sensitive and modest in its development, and the mass scale and build form is in keeping with the character of the context of Hillhurst Boulevard, our close neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I'm more in line to following what the staff report has said and having heard, what the debutantes have said, and as well as taking into consideration the agent himself. I will put forward a motion to approve this application, but I'll make it subject to the recommendations of the staff report, the February 2nd recommendations. And did you need me to read that out again?
I think with respect to variance number 4, Ms. Sankar, I think what you're saying is that you're saying that variance number 4 should be revised to read the proposed floor space index is 0.60 times the area of the lot?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
And that the building length and depth be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your revised application has been approved. Variance number 4 has been modified to read the proposed floor space index is 0.60 times the lot area of the area of the lot, and that the building length and depth will be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to their report. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 15, 84 Woburn Avenue. I have 2 people registered to speak. I have the agent, Stephen Lindy, Lindy.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Stephen Lindy, architect and agent for the proposal. I am located at 48 Bedford Park Avenue in Toronto.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note that I've gone through your file. I note that there's no staff comments or recommended conditions attached to it. We do have one other person registered to speak on this application. If you could give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Thank you. So the existing is a 2-story detached dwelling. The proposed is a 3rd floor addition. It is to create 1 more bedroom in the single family dwelling. The 3rd floor addition is in the middle of the portion of the house. One of the reasons for this location in the middle was not to create shadows on the rear or north or the front yards. The addition is only 26.35 square meters, 283 square feet. The first variance is for the sidewall height of 8.77 meters. This variance is minor. If I may ask the committee to please pull up the applicant's submission of zoning research, which is a separate document. Yes, thank you. The zoning research for sidewall height is highlighted green. The research of highlighted items exceed the requested number. So we have 10 variances in the immediate area for sidewall height. And similarly, we have discovered numerous precedents for the floor space index and requested a 0.843.
Sir, I don't mean to interrupt. Sir, don't mean to interrupt, but remember the committee doesn't deal with precedents. So if you're making your proposals have to stand or fall on the merits of their own argument. Can't rely on precedents.
That's no problem. Thank you. So the 3rd variance is for the roof eaves. 0.9 is permitted and the proposed is 0. This is matching an existing situation. The existing is already 0 meters eaves, and so the east neighbor has no objection. as far as we understand. I'm not sure who's speaking today. The side yard setbacks proposed on both north and side yard are unchanged. The depth and length is unchanged. And we have not seen any letters against. We, there may be someone speaking. We have informally obtained support from the adjacent neighbor to the west, 82 Woburn Avenue. The proposed addition is stepped back from the front yard and from the street. And there's no variance to the front yard of the house. There are no concerns from planning staff in the file. We submit that the proposed variances are minor. The proposed addition maintains the character of the house and the neighborhood. And we believe that the proposed variances meet the 4 tests of the committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just had a question. What's your justification for a floor space index of 0.84 when the permitted maximum is 0.6?
Well, in other committee adjustment hearings, I referred to what the committee has approved in the past. That would be called precedence. And I have 24
sir, we're not dealing with precedence. What's your rationale for the FSI 0.843?
Well, let me rephrase that. That is matching the pattern of development in the neighborhood, period.
Okay, all right, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lindy, my concern is about variance number 2 and variance 3. I see house number 80 at a disadvantage because your variance 2, 843 lot area is very high, allowable of 6. And also your eaves are existing is 00. I mean, adding the 3rd story, putting the house number 8 very disadvantaged, a lot of problems. How do you address this?
Not aware of any advantage or disadvantage, sir. The 0.843 is a common number that's in the area. It's justified by other neighbors in the area getting much more than that. And the lot line is an existing situation. We're just duplicating it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, I'm sorry, we have another speaker here. Sophia Matulis or Matthew Cohn, K-O-H-N. Are you there?
Oh, yes, Matthew Cohn, C-O-H-N.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yep, it's Matthew Cohn, 86 Woburn Avenue, the home directly adjacent on the west side to 84 Woburn Avenue.
Okay, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, thank you for hearing me, Committee of Adjustments. We would have absolutely filed a formal letter. However, we just moved in less than 1 week ago and were not made aware of this proposal at all. And so I'm going to read my letter and appreciate your consideration in advance. We are writing to express our deep concern with regards to this proposal and the implications that it has on us. Specifically, this proposed change poses significant challenges and drawbacks as it pertains to our ability to live and work comfortably in our home. As it currently stands, the roof of 84 Woburn Avenue already stands much taller than our home at 86 Woburn. Our home being a semi-detached home, we only have windows on one of the sides of our home to begin with. Because 84 Woburn is already situated much higher than our home, the roof is already an obstruction and materially compromises the sunlight that we get in our east-facing bedroom that faces 84 Woburn. Again, being a semi-detached home, we also do not have the ability to negate or neutralize this proposed change, as we cannot raise our own height, and that is even if we had the capital to do so. Both my partner Sophia and I work remotely, and this room is used as an office and is thus our place of employment in which we rely upon for our livelihood. Allowing this change to pass through would mean that sunlight would be immensely diminished beyond what is deemed reasonable, and again poses an absolutely significant influence on our ability to carry out our work and living conditions throughout our daily work. we would essentially be losing the majority of sunlight. Moreover, again, we didn't have the opportunity to submit a formal letter, but we have a picture of our current view from this bedroom that can be provided for review if permitted. In closing, having just purchased and moved into this home a matter of days ago, this change represents a major deviation from the home that we purchased. We would be the most greatly impacted if this proposal is to be granted, and we are asking for your consideration so we can maintain our living and working conditions as is. Thank you kindly for your understanding and consideration. From Matthew and Sophia.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go back to Mr. Lindy. Are you there, sir? Mr. Lindy, are you there?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you heard the comments
Yes,
from
thank you.
Mr. Cohn, if you'd like to reply.
Yes, with respect to sunlight, we are to the east of the person who just spoke, Matthew Cohn, and there would be zero impact of sunlight because the sun doesn't travel in that direction. The sun would be,
look at the sky.
well, the sun is, the eastern sun wouldn't impact, would be slightly impacted, but south and west, most of the afternoon sun, there's no impact at all. The roof is sloped, so there's limited impact. In the winter, obviously, there's impact always. I think it's, we didn't do any sun study, but as you can see, the massing of this addition is very small and compact, and it's towards the middle of the existing house, and it's set back from the street and from the rear yard. I'm not exactly sure where that window is located at this very moment, but the impact would be, if any, you would still get the diffuse light that you would still be enjoying there, and the setback there is the largest on the property, as one can see from the two houses. There's quite a good setback between them.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Please note there are no comments from staff or recommended conditions. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. There is no staff recommendation on this one. I consider as a
Mr. Khan, can you speak up?
variance number 2, I do not take as a minor, which is massing, oversizing, not meeting the intent of the zoning bylaws, official plan, and not a suitable development. Therefore, I am moving the
So, Mr. Khan, you're making a motion to refuse the application?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a motion for Mr. Khan to refuse the application. Someone to second that? That motion does not carry. Can I get another motion? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. You know, I do understand the concerns that Mr. Khan had about variance number 2. I had them too, but I think in terms of the explanations provided for this project, I do believe that it does meet the 4 tests. And so for that reason, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. Sir, your application has been approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Item number 16, 35 Wilkett Road. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is a Giorgio Lolos, L-O-L-O-S. Are you there, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Giorgio Lolos, 220 Duncan Mills Road, Suite 217.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note you have the one variance before us about building height. There is someone, deputant, who'd like to speak on this item. So if you could give us a very brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal, sir.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Chair.
before you start,
committee?
sir, I'm sorry. There are no, I know going through your file, I note that there are no comments or recommended conditions from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This application was in front of the committee at the end of 2017. During the process of our zoning review, one of the zoning examiners missed one of the variances, which we are addressing here today, which is a building height, a roof height, which is only located at the front of the building. And if city staff can pull up the front elevation, I can illustrate where the area is being requested today for, as far as the roof height is concerned. Generally, it doesn't change our impact. So basically speaking, where the vertical metal roof system is over the front entrance, that's the area that we're asking for now, and it's measured to the midpoint, to the highest point of the roof. So in essence, this part of the roof system is the only area that does not comply. That little small section over the front entrance that has the vertical metal roof system over it.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to emphasize, can I just clarify here? Your proposed building height, it complies with the new bylaw, 569-2013?
Correct, sir.
Yeah, so you're going for the old, which is, to be honest, is an old obsolete bylaw, which is the variance you're going
Correct.
for. Okay, thank you.
Which was missed in our zoning review.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Zara Haslow or Oliver Haslow. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. This is Zara Haslow.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my first name is Zara, last name Haslow. Address is 2533 Bayview Avenue, North York, M2L1B1.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and dear members. My family owns 2533 Bayview Avenue dwelling and has been calling this address home for the past 23 years. To the north side of our property, we have 2535 Bayview that's approved for 3+ story townhouse development facing the Bayview Avenue with additional multi-story detached houses in the rear. The implication of this development is that we will have 2 neighbors to our north of the to the north of our property, one in our front yard, one in our backyard with large balconies facing our pool. To our south, we are neighbors with 35 Wilkett, the applicant, and 37 Wilkett Road. Therefore, in total, we are surrounded by 5 neighbors, 2 on the north side, 2 on the south, 1 on the east, and to the west, we face Bayview Avenue. The proposed development on the 35 Wilkett has the rear of its building totally 100% facing our backyard on the south side and our bedrooms on the same side. Furthermore, this development has its windows on the west facing our front yard, as this building has a perpendicular relationship to the south of our property. The applicant has already asked for many variances back in September 2021, 2 of which would greatly affect our privacy. One was reduced rear yard setback and also excessively encroaching balconies and decks that adversely will affect the way we've been living for the past 23 years. Now the applicant is requesting permission for yet another variance, further affecting the height of this building and how immense and imposing would make this building look like and affect, again, the quality of our life. With the existence of the balconies and the decks, which should have been 2.5 meter encroaching, but now they are 4.19 meters encroaching. The house structure is just too close to our building, and it's going to be too tall by being 10.6 meters instead of 9.5 meters. And we will be left with very little privacy owing to other constructions in the area as well, which are immediately next to our building. I don't believe this variance should be allowed, as it's not minor. It's not desirable for the appropriate development of the use of the land, and it doesn't maintain the general intent of the zoning bylaw and official plan. I hope that my concern resonates with you, and thank you for your help.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. My question to Mrs. Haslow is, Madam, when you are talking about the closeness, how close is this building that is concerned with privacy?
It's very close. See, the setback should have been about 9 meters. It's only 6 meters now from our house. It's going to be much bigger than the existing house that has been there since we have been here probably since 1950s. It's going to be a very large, imposing structure.
Madam,
And it faces.
Madam, you understand that the only variance he's going for is for a variance from an old North York bylaw that is now obsolete, has been superseded by a new bylaw. You understand that the bylaw complies with the new that the height complies with the new bylaw. We're only dealing with one variance, dealing with building height under an old bylaw.
So the new bylaw allows it to be 10.65?
Yes, the new bylaw allows it to be that height. Okay. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Being none, I'll go back to Mr. Lolos. If you'd like to, you've heard the comments from the previous speaker. If you'd like to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we're familiar with Mrs. Haslow. We negotiated and navigated with our original applications for the rear yard proposals, and during our last committee, we navigated through there. With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, this roof line that we're asking for right now is directly on the opposite end of her. It's in the front of the building, so really it doesn't have any impact at all on her rear yard. The majority of the main source of this roof line is in the front of the building itself, which is the opposite side of her backyard. And you can see it easily illustrated if you pull up the roof plan. You can actually see where the actual area is. It's towards the front. So really, there is no encroachment. The building's not getting any closer to her. It's a roof height variance that was missed back then, and it's basically, if you can see on the front area there, where it has with a vertical right there, to your left, right there, that square box in the middle, right there. Yeah, that's the only area that we're asking for, right there, which is 50 feet in front from the rear of the wall towards the front of the building. So it doesn't have really any impact. It shouldn't create any shadow studies. This should be sort of no impact at all on her privacy issues at all.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, can I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given that this is a previous application and that this application before us is to conform, which does indeed conform to the present bylaw, and that there were no department concerns or comments, I would move approval of the application.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Thank you. Item number 17, 72, the bridle path. I have Jim Pfeffer is the agent. Are you there, sir?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Thank you. I just wanted to ask, sir, before you start, I noticed there's a couple of reports on file here. There's an urban forestry recommended condition from urban forestry. There's a recommended condition in a 1 February 2022 report from Ravine and Natural Features Protection. There's a report dated the 31st of January from the TRCA, Toronto Region Conservation Authority, who have no objection. There is also a report from City Planning dated the 2nd of February 2022. They have no objections to your application, provided that the driveway you're proposing is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to this report, and that the applicant shall submit an application for Toronto Water Technical Review for a reverse slope driveway. There's also a report from Transportation Services dated the 2nd of February 2022, and that report states that they oppose the driveway width and the reverse slope driveway, and they're recommending that you defer the application so that you can discuss your driveway design with them. I wanted to know, sir, would you like to defer your application to discuss it with Transportation Services?
No, we wouldn't.
No? Okay. I just wanted to ask, you should give us probably a brief presentation on this driveway issue. Can you give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal?
Yeah, and I'd just ask that the site plan, actually the colored site plan in the booklet I submitted be brought up, or, as I pointed out in my letter to the committee, this bridle path lot has a 30-meter required front yard setback. And the lot itself begins to slope down to Wilkett Creek at the curb. And so at the required front yard setback, the level of the land is already 2.5 meters below the road. So it would be absolutely impossible to construct a house on this lot that did not have a reverse slope driveway. And if you take a look at our plans, the reverse slope driveway doesn't end in a well, but the ground just continues to slope past the back of the driveway, towards Wilkett Creek. But there's a lot of land behind the driveway at that point. So it's just going to be infiltrated on the site. And we're happy to accept review by Toronto Water to make sure that there's no flooding hazard of this reverse slope driveway at all. I discussed the width of the driveway at some length with the planner, and the driveway itself is not particularly wide, but it is the width that the zoning examiner identified is basically across the face of the garage entrance. If you could pull up the plans that I submitted. It's the C of A supporting material.
We are just having a bit of technical difficulties. Jim, if you could just continue on with your presentation, that would be great.
Okay. So in this neighborhood, as can be seen in the booklet that I sent in, it's very common to have, circular driveways, front driveway courts, driveway features. If you take a look at our plans that we submitted, will show our proposal in the context of the neighborhood, and you can see what we've proposed is actually significantly more modern in terms of absolute amount of driveway that you'll see.
Sir, we can't hear you. You're cutting out. Mr. Pfeffer, are you there? We've lost him. Mr. Pfeffer, are you there? Mr. Pfeffer, are you there? Ms. Reed, do we need a few minutes for you to sort this out?
Yeah, maybe if you could sign out and then sign back in, maybe that'll help with the audio connection.
Let's just shut things down for a minute while we try and get a hold of Mr. Pfeffer.
Let's see.
Jim, are you there? I'm just going to do a little.
Can you hear me?
Oh, Mr. Pfeffer, are you there?
Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just continue where you stopped before. Hello, we're losing you again. Mr. Pfeffer, we've lost you again. Mr. Pfeffer, hang up and try and get back in again. Mr. Pfeffer, I don't know if you can hear it, but you need to hang up and then call back in.
Mr. Chairman, if the members do the members have any issues with this application?
No, it's an audio problem, Mr. Antonacci.
No, I'm just saying, but if do the members have any issues with this application? Do we need a presentation?
I don't know. I'll ask the committee members. Committee, do you feel that you need a presentation on this application?
No, Mr. Chair, from me.
Okay,
No.
all right.
I don't need a presentation, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right then. We've tried to get a hold of the agent. So let's make a motion on the application. Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I was ready to make a motion anyway, so I will go ahead and I'll motion I do believe that this application is actually, the explanations provided by the applicant here today does sit well with me. I've had a chance to go through the application and I feel pretty comfortable that it does meet with what the agent was saying here today. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application. And I'll make it subject to forestry.
It would be subject to city planning as well as ravine and natural features.
Yes, as well.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. That motion carries. The application is approved, subject to urban forestry condition, ravine and natural features protection conditions, and city planning conditions. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That ends our morning session. Ms. Reed, we haven't missed anybody, have we?
No, we have not.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you back at 2 o'clock.